push, pull.
Hello, 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 hello. I would like to welcome everybody to the KPP Kick, Push, Pull Transformational Life Podcast. And I am your lovely host, creator, and CEO, Summer D. Richardson. Listen, I know every single episode I always talk about, oh my God, I've had the privilege of having these wonderful people or this wonderful individual on the episode. Today is the same, but only I have the opportunity to introduce to y'all two of my favorite, and when I say favorite, I mean favorite couples. They are my top 5 couples. You can see their facial expressions right now, but I mean it when I say two of my favorite couples. I love these couples, so trust me. When you leave this episode, you are going to have so much knowledge and hope and encouragement that no matter where you find yourself on your love journey, these individuals are going to leave you with hope and encouragement. So today's episode is entitled The Love Journey. And I want to introduce to you all JC and Candace Crane, the Cranes.
Hi, everybody.
And then there is James and Angel McKay, the McKays. So listen, there's a couple of reasons why these two couples are my favorite couples, okay? So I'm going to start off first with my girl, Candy. And I call her Candy even though her name is Candace, and there's a lot of other people out there that call her Candy as well. I have known Candy, oh my God, I'm about to date ourselves, so y'all probably trying to figure out how old we are. Y'all will figure this out. We have known each other since we were 18 years old. Yes. We met each other, Candy, you remember? Mm-hmm. We met each other the summer of 97.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes,
class of 97. What? Fine, okay. Listen, we met in 1997, myself and Candy and another tribe or sister friend of ours, Kelly Kemple. She'll be on another episode another time. Shout out to Kelly. We met the summer of 97 at Drake University.
Yes.
Oh my God, in Des Moines, Iowa. And I did say Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. Cold Des Moines, Iowa.
Yes.
But when we met, y'all, I'm telling y'all, it was just instant connection. It was like, oh my God, this is my sister. And this is a bond that has just never been broken since then.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate this woman. She is so awesome and magnificent. Such a kind-hearted, graceful, wonderful person. When I tell you, listen, y'all know, everybody that knows me knows that I love the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right? It's like my favorite book of all time. And one of my favorite habits is seek first to understand, then to be understood. When I say Candy just does that naturally, as well as my sister, and we'll talk about my sister too. But when I say Candy does that naturally, she does that naturally. Aww. When any person that has ever been encountered Candy at any time, any of her friends, her tribe members, her sorority, she's a part of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Shout out to her sorors that are watching. But anybody, church members, family members, friends, community, this woman holds space, and she does it naturally. She really does try to be there with you in the moment, help you through anything you could possibly be through. When I say this girl's been with me since I was 18, y'all. So she's been with me through every single situation, from the highest of highs to the lowest of lows. She's got my back. She's ready to roll up on somebody if we need to.
Yes.
This girl will pray for you in a minute. She'll speak life into you. There's so much wisdom that she gives. It's just God-given wisdom. So sis, thank you. I love you, and I appreciate you.
Yes.
Now, as a bonus of having sister, I get her husband, which is my brother, JC. Shout out to my brother, who is also just a wonderful man. He is a part of the community. He's giving back. He's helping everywhere he can possibly do. When I tell you this man can give and teach leadership and entrepreneurship and help you walk through your process. So, JC, I don't know if you remember, shout out to my brother who helped to make sure that Kick, Push, Pull Training and Development became a legitimate business, my LLC. I think he was ear hustling one time. We were on the Marco Polo.
Probably.
And interrupted and said, wait a minute, sis, you ain't got your paperwork together with your business? We don't do that. You got to make sure you got your stuff in this legit. What are you doing? So when I tell y'all, my brother actually had a meeting with me, met with me one-on-one at Starbucks and walked me through the process. process to make sure that every T was crossed, every I was dotted, to make sure that my business was a legit business. So as an LLC, as well as making sure, like, sis, I know you like to talk, you like to present, but hey, and it's okay to do freebies, but from time to time, you need to make sure you understand your worth. Here is the pricing, here is what you need to do. So brother, thank you for having my back, for being a great example. He's also a part of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, so your bros that are watching, y'all know how JC gets down. So I just want to say I love this couple. I appreciate you all, your family, your spheres of influence, your community. They love you and appreciate you all so much. So instead of waiting to give people stuff later, I give out flowers and information now. So, sis, here is your flowers now.
Thank you, Summer.
Love you, appreciate you. Hopefully it's the right pink. Don't get me now. It's not the right pink.
It's fine. Oh, this is beautiful.
And brother, here's a little something if y'all got a date night at home and y'all stuck because of COVID. Just a little something for you. Just a nice little something to light up and sip on.
I don't have to share this.
No, that's all. Oh, yes, you do now. You gotta give my sister a sip. You gotta give my sister a sip.
Yeah, okay.
So a nice little.
Thank you.
So, anyway, the next set of couples here, and I know everybody always hear me talk about a lot of times, you know, my sister friends and everybody else, but I actually have a wonderful biological sister here that's with me, and I absolutely love her and appreciate her for everything that she does. She's had my back. She is always there for me, and she, like Candace, also does an excellent job of seeking first to understand people and then understanding. She holds space for people so well. She's helped her community out. I mean, there's so many people, numerous of people that, you know, have been touched and helped by my sister along the way. Listen, my sister's so influential, okay, to the point where she actually named me. And I don't know if you knew that, Candace. My sister actually named me, okay?
Wow.
That is how ordained that God had ordained that this lady right here would be my big sister, my older sister. So my parents, you know, in their great minds thinking they were, debating between the name Faith and Hope.
Charity
as well. So then my sister, in her wisdom at 6 years old, and I'm telling you, my sister's had this same amount of wisdom since she was 6. So parents, shout out to parents and anybody that you're dealing with children in any kind of way. Be encouraged. I know sometimes the kids can get on your nerves, you're frustrated, but a lot of times God is showing you who these babies are. They're entrepreneurs, they're leaders. So my prayer is for you all to be encouraged and let the Lord help guide you and lead you to cultivate them. Yes, you need to make sure that they're doing right. Yes, you need to make sure that you're taking care of them and that they're not going down the wrong path. But at the same time, be encouraged, okay? Public service announcement. Shout out to my parents and all the people that have anything to do with any child. Anyway, back to my sister. So thank you, sis. My sister and her 6-year-old head of wisdom that God gave her and said to my parents, hey, why don't you name her Summer? And my parents said, you know what, you're right, little 6-year-old with wisdom. We're over here debating back and forth. And guess what? I am who I am today. I tell you, my name is Summer, and I'm every bit of that name, up and down. I am complete Summer. So, Angel, thank you. I love you. There's been times, y'all, like I said, that my sister has probably wanted to snatch me out of situations that I had no business being in, just wanted to save me. But my sister held space. She prayed. She listened. And she's done that for so many other people. And I appreciate you, and I love you.
Thank you.
As a bonus, I got my brother-in-law as a bonus. And when I tell you my brother-in-law, James, that's my friend. That's my buddy for real. Let me tell you how much of he is my friend. Oftentimes, when I'm introducing them to people, I switch it up. I'm like, oh, I want you to meet my brother and my sister-in-law. That's how close I am to my brother. Okay? And so I have to remember, I'm like, oh, that's not how that goes. But that's how close he is to my family. Y'all listen, we'll be eating dinner and then dinner table. My mama, this is my mama's child. My brother-in-law is my mama's baby. I don't know how me and Angel even fit into this whole situation. That is how close my brother is. So thank you, brother. I love you. You've always been there. My brother's been there since I was a teenager. So he's literally watched me grow up, become the woman that I am today. He's had my back. back. He's prayed for me. He spoke life into me. He's encouraged me. He ready to roll up if he needs to roll up. Okay. My brother's always been there. Covered me, preserved me, shown me what a godly man can do, how he can love his wife well, love his community well. He also, both this couple too, full of wisdom, they give and give and give. They give whatever they can. They're ministers, they're mentors, they're pastors, they're teachers. And I mean from every age, from the babies all the way up to our traditionalists, okay? They are giving of themselves. So I just want to say also, my brother, y'all wouldn't even be listening to this podcast. Remember James? Had my brother not planted the seed years ago, you know, God used him to say some things like, sis, hey, you thought about doing a podcast? And this is back in the day when podcasts was just kind of popping up a little bit. Now everybody's got a podcast, which is a beautiful thing. But he planted that seed, and I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe so. But God used him to plant that seed. Years later, I was like, brother, you were right. Look at that wisdom. So thank you, brother. I appreciate you. He also is my IT person and anything else I need. He is hooking stuff up for me because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. He will take over and take care of it. So again, I don't wait to give people their flowers and appreciation. I do it now. So sis, here is yours.
Very beautiful.
And brother, here is yours. Again, date night, couples night, when y'all stuck in the house because of COVID. You know, you all enjoy. Let me say this. As a result of COVID, let me tell you something. If we learn nothing else, and I'm going to keep repeating this probably every single episode. When you love people, tell them. When you appreciate people, tell them. When you're grateful for people and you honor people and you respect people, tell them. Don't wait till you're looking at them, you know, on a ventilator. Or don't wait till you're looking at them and they're in a casket. Then you're saying a bunch of woulda, shoulda, couldas. Music Soul Child has a song that's called Woulda, Shoulda, Coulda. We don't want to live like that, folks, right? We don't want to live like that. Too many of us have already, you know, gone through that and lost loved ones and jobs and opportunities. We don't want to live like that anymore. So if you love that person, tell them and show them. If you appreciate them, tell them and show them. Matter of fact, if you're sorry, tell them and show them. It's not too late. I don't care if that's a family member, a co-worker, an associate, an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend. It is not too late. Text them, Zoom, give them a phone call, FaceTime them, email them. I'm going to go old school. Write them a letter. Tell them you're sorry. Tell them that, you know, many of us entertained situations and got involved in times that were absolutely the worst timing because you were already dealing with some of your own traumas, some of your own issues. You weren't healthy. And as a result of that, you dragged someone else through your mess. Not intentionally, but you did. But as a result, somebody got injured along the way. So do you know what an apology can do for someone? It can absolutely set you free and that person free. So it's not too late. I don't care if it was 3 years ago. Apologize. Send them a text. Tell them you're sorry. You know what? I was in a bad space back then. I apologize. Does that mean we need to rekindle things? No. But does that apology free you and free them up? Absolutely. Tell them you're sorry, you apologize, and you hope the very best for them. There's an old school group called Brownstone. And earlier we was having a conversation with my brother about the 80s and 90s music with JC. And so they were back, what, in the 90s or 2000s? And they wrote this song, and it was called If You Love Me. And the lyrics are, if you love me, say it. If you trust me, do it. If you want me, show it. And if you need me, prove it. So let me say this, another public service announcement. Your actions need to match your words. So if you're saying you feel this way and these are the things that I feel about you, then it needs to be followed up with action always. Don't leave people hanging. Don't have to be a bunch of lip service and not action behind it. Are you kidding me? That's where the confusion comes in. That's where the insecurities, or I don't trust that person, or I don't think they're a man or a woman of their word. Your actions and your words need to always be in agreement. And I'm talking about relationships, business, dealings with friends, families, and associates. Actions and words agree. Always and consistently. And today's episode is called The Love Journey. And so I am so excited to share these two couples, again, two of my favorite couples, love journey. So, you know, we like to create stories, and you guys all have a story, and everybody's love journey is different from person to person and couple to couple. So take us on the love journey story. And either couple can respond. It doesn't matter whichever one wants to start off. Let's start off with, how did you guys meet and where did you meet? And was there anything, monumental in the moment when you guys met, or was it kind of like, nice to meet you, bye, I'm gone? Anything, how and where, and was there anything in that moment that was like, I think I need to make sure I stay in contact, whatever it was. Okay. Either couple can start.
Yeah, JC.
Not all at once.
Go on.
Come on, JC, what you got for me?
How do we meet?
Yes.
So, Candace and I attended Drake University at different times, and they had a black student reunion on campus, and so I went and we all met there, and it was I guess the way we met was well, when you say what attracted, I think you asked what attracted. It was well, with me, I was outside of my norm. And there was some physical attraction.
Okay, Norm.
Because usually I get to know the woman things first like that, like it's supposed to. But there's a physical attraction on these ivory pants, and I can't say anything else because we don't keep this a G-rated show. But
we keep it transparent and complete. It's not G-rated. Go for it.
But and so we talked a little bit. I think we went on a tour to school and everything, and the conversation started when we were talking, I think, at the dinner, and it was just just casual conversation, and I knew I was attracted to her, and I think it was the reception later on. This is the all-time famous thing that someone could say to me. I asked her, I said, "Are you seeing anyone?" And this lady looks me right in the eye,
okay,
and says, "No. Do you know anyone?" And so. And I mean, and then he says, she said, "Do you know anyone?" Then she said, "Well," I said, I was shook up. I'm still shook up. I'm stuttering right now.
Right now.
And it's like, I mean, how did you say that to me? And I mean, I showed her around Drake, the school that I built, back in the day.
Okay.
Made it a way for her to come along.
Okay.
And this is what she says. And so, look, I've been dumped before, but not asked for a reference. I mean, who dumped somebody? You're not good enough for the job. Do you have any friends we could hire? I mean, and so I got into my feelings, and I was like, well, this ain't gonna work. And I mean, like, she don't know who I am. I mean, I was, so then I was like, well, that was that. So I left. I mean, we kept, I was cordial and everything, but then after that, it was when I left. I think the next day we had church service, and then we dismissed for the program. Well, I didn't think I'd see her again. So I was like, that's that. I mean, it was totally, it was just going. So, I mean, talk about the ego being, I mean, I'm not even going to go there. But anyway, I married her for 12 years. I still have a problem with this. So anyway, we fly back. I mean, we go back. So I was living in Michigan at the time, and Kansas City. And so we got to our respective places. And so just out of the blue, I don't know how many months later, Candace, maybe like a month. A month, maybe a month and a half.
Yeah, a couple months or so.
So I get a call from the alumni office.
Okay.
And the alumni office says, there is the director of alumni service. She said, well, there was a person at the reunion named Candace, and she's trying to get in contact with you, and do I have permission to give you, or give her your number? Oh. And so I was like, and I had to think for a minute, because I'll block this out, So, I did this. Like, this happened to my health. I had to kind of block this out. So then I said, yes, you can. And so she was like, fine. So that was it. So now, I mean, I'm feeling a little good now because she was talking about something. So I was getting happy about it. But I had to play it cool. The problem is that a day came, the next day, no call. So now I'm thinking, now she's playing with me mentally, Now she dumps me. Now she want to play with my mind, So I'm like, okay, this lady's cruel, And so then I think like a week had passed, and I called the alumni office. I said, the Candace, who you said gave my number, she hasn't called me. Can I have her number?
Oh, okay.
And then she thought the lady was on the phone. She was like, okay, well, I did it for her, so I guess I do it for you too. Right. And so she gave me the number. I think she probably knew that I ain't got time to play matchmaker or anything. So I got the call. So I got her number, and then I waited a couple more days, and then finally the ego deflated, and I called. Okay. And I called her, and she And she said she didn't mean to get around to call me or something like that. We just started talking, and I think we hit it off really, really quick. She was very easy to talk to. She was, I picked up on her Christianity, right away, and so that was important to her, and that was good for me, obviously, same way. But anyway, we just kind of hit it off really well, and we talk about the school. We went to schools at a little bit different times. It was one way environment when I was there, and when she was there, she described a whole different environment at the school. So we talked about all those things, and then it just I think it evolved from there, from more conversation. I never wanted to get off the phone with her. I never wanted to get off the phone with her. I enjoyed talking to her all the time. So we would it evolved into more, and then we made the decision to see each other. Now I'm in Michigan, she's in Kansas City. So the challenge was, I was, and Candace would disagree with this, but I think I went there. I went to visit her, and I met her parents and everything, and show them around Kansas City. So we just had a good time. And then each time that we dated or when we were long distance, I would make the trip there.
Okay.
So what she would say in the marriage now.
Oh.
She never got a chance to come to my place. She don't know how I lived or what my house looked like, things like that.
My God.
So I knew how she was, and then she, very neat and everything.
Yes.
So she said because she never saw my place, I'm always filthy. Or anytime something that is not put up in the right way, that's how your place was. I leave a dish on the table just a little bit to go change or go to the bathroom. No, so it's like
okay, you're going all into that. The
I'm just
question
saying,
was,
I'm sorry.
how did we meet?
I digress. But anyway, but I'm just talking about the set up for the relationship questions later. So anyway, I will always come to her, and I was just doing that to be a gentleman. I just her traveling. I know women travel, but I just thought it was better me coming there than her coming, to where I was. So, so we did that, and then and finally, I think. I don't know how long we I can't remember, Candace, how long we actually did the long distance thing before.
It was about 2 years.
2 years.
About 2 years. Okay. And
But
go ahead.
I just want to back up. The reason why I said to him, "Oh, do you know anybody?" is not because I was mean. It's because
we're talking about it again.
He had this ring on, like, his finger, and it was a football ring, but you just never know. And so that's why I was like, he's probably married. He was very mature and just like, wow, okay. He's probably about his game and just doing different things with his life. So he was very mature. And so I just assumed he was married, and it was a football ring. But it's not that I was just like, oh, do you know somebody? I wasn't like that. And I told him I was just getting out of a relationship and all of that. So I just wanted to clear the air. But anyway, we let them answer how they met.
One more question for you, sis, and then I'm going to go over to the McKays. So, why did you, after that, why did you decide to contact the
alumni office?
The alumni office.
Well, I guess just watching him around campus, I thought he was hilarious. And I'm like, wow, he is so loud and funny. And he just seemed like it was somebody that I wanted to keep in contact with. I thought he would be a good, I'm saying this now, Jay, but I thought you would be a good friend. And that's horrible. But I did. It was like, wow, he is very funny. And I was just getting out of a relationship, so I wasn't really ready to maybe, do something real serious. But I was like, he is hilarious, so I don't want to lose contact with him. And so that's why I called the alumni office. And we're together.
And y'all together.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
We're great.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway.
So, same question for the McKays. How did you guys meet? When did you meet? And was there anything major or monumental in that moment or that experience? Yes.
You know what? It's very ironic, but Angel also had on a pair of ivory pants.
Some of that ivory.
Okay, did not. That's true. Do not wear white slacks.
What did you wear?
I don't even remember, but it wasn't white. I never wear white clothes.
Got him.
So he was looking at somebody else clearly.
Go ahead.
How did we meet? We met
Yes.
through a mutual friend.
Yes.
And old school was a 3-way phone call.
Okay.
Oh, well, that's the second time we met. So you,
Okay, the first time, I think, cousin,
Yes.
I give you a ride to church.
Right.
Yeah, he gave me a
And
ride.
you know what? We did not like each other. Our personalities, boom, boom, boom.
He was so arrogant.
I was confident.
Oh, okay. I see.
Arrogant.
She's always said arrogant, just very confident. You know,
I arranged a different escort home from
right. That's how bad it was.
It was bad.
She went to church with me and did one. That's how bad it
I
was.
did thank him.
It's-
But you tell him.
we talked about the Bible.
No.
We talked about preaching,
No. He
the
gave
text,
me,
the verses,
He gave me a pop quiz.
Oh.
an
I think he wanted
assessment.
to see if I was
A diagnostic
really saying
instrument.
something. And he wanted to know, like, I don't even remember the questions, but it was like a fast-paced questionnaire verbally or something. While the other two weirdos in the back, oops, they might see this,
They
but they
will.
were weird in the back, and they were like heckling him on, and he was just so hyper that I could not believe that this was the ride my cousin had.
Arranged
Arranged.
for you.
And then he was really nice, but I was just like, wow.
But that's a
If I
compliment.
never talk to him again.
Listen, if I didn't think you were smart, I wouldn't talk to you.
It was just weird because that's like a weird way when you've not met somebody. Like they get in the car and they immediately go, "How many books of the Bible do you know?" And it's just like,
You know, you augment that each time we lay this story out.
so that was the first time we met.
It was the first time.
Okay.
But the next time we met, go ahead.
It was on a 3-way call with a mutual friend.
was.
Actually, my prayer partner from high school. And we would just kind of be on the phone hanging.
Yeah, we would. And then we ended up, he was home. It was actually December because he was home from school and all three of us were on Christmas break. We were all in college. So he had a minute to grow up just a little bit, calm down. And I
Still only
honestly
5'7".
did not remember. I wouldn't have told nobody that. Oh, we've been married for 25 years.
Yes,
so it's
25.
Okay. It's okay.
Decades,
It's
it's
okay.
12.
It's okay.
Almost 12. He's claiming it, but
I noticed that.
And we are in our 40s, so
Yeah.
we've been married more than half
Their whole
our
life.
It's just really weird. But anyway, we were on Christmas break, and somebody decided that we should all go out to eat. And that's really how we ended up on the phone.
Was it hula hands?
It might have been or something like that. But we went out to eat, and we had such a good conversation at the table through the mutual friend, and he brought his nephew, who was such a cutie. Oh my God, he was just an adorable little boy. He just sat there and smiled the whole time. He was just so cute, and I was the girl at the table playing with the little boy. That we kept talking, and so we talked all through Christmas break. He had to preach while he was home for Christmas, and I had never seen a young man like shut a whole service down like that. It was
pretty powerful.
a auditorium that was full to the brim and talking about 100, 200 folk. And when he got done preaching, at some point he was like down flat on his back talking about, if you can look up, get up. And the crowd went wild. And I was just like sitting there like, this that same dude he was out to lunch with. But he did the most peculiar thing. One thing that was weird is we had on the same color suit. Was not planned. That was back in the 90s when it was okay to wear purple suits.
That's right. That's right. Those stores.
No, fine.
And I had on a purple suit and he had on a purple suit, but we were not planned, okay? But he came after he preached and he bowed at my feet. And I was like, get up, get up, get up, get up. What are you doing? And he was just very gracious. But from there, and I kind of was like, that was weird. Okay, don't do that no more. But from there, we kept talking all through Christmas. And then when he got back to school, we continued to talk.
And it was very expensive.
It was. That was before there were
No,
cell
that was back in the
phones.
days of, MCI and
We had call cards.
World Calling. You had to go to the store and
Yeah,
get those
calling
calling cards.
Yeah, I actually got an
Illegal.
additional job at school for to pay that bill. So my parents wouldn't get me because I had
Long distance.
I had a phone in my dorm that we would talk on, and so when that bill came the first time, I went to work study and got some additional hours so I could pay that off.
Wow.
Thanks.
That's love.
We didn't have,
That
but we
is
were just
love.
friends.
Yeah.
Old school.
We
love.
were not dating. We
No.
both actually had other
We
interests.
still, and we fought, we argue all the time.
What was the first argument or the continuous argument I think you guys
It's a con-
have?
I
Is
used to
it
tell him
continuous
all
one?
the time that he was not my father
Yeah.
and he was not my husband.
Oh.
Yeah, she say that.
And yeah.
Equal words. But you know what's odd?
What would we argue about? Do you remember?
I don't know. You getting on my nerves about
He
something.
was just annoying. He still had a little bit of arrogance in there. Just a little. He's like
I was going to tell them the story about the sisters. I've always had sisters, play sisters or whatever, and I would call myself teaching them how to be treated, what standards were, and then they,
holding doors. And
holding doors, I wouldn't let them touch the door, because I wanted,
Yeah.
I didn't care if they had a dad or not. If you're in my life, I want to show you something. And so I thought she was just another. I'm not saying this in a marginalizing way, but I thought she was another sister. This was the norm for me. And she stayed. She stuck.
stuck on that angel.
Okay. Okay.
See.
In a good way. This is G-rated. But anyway.
It's rated, PG-13-ish.
Okay.
Rated R. I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was raising
Yeah, shut up.
sisters.
No, not
I didn't either.
I didn't know.
So speaking, let's go into, because you all touched it a little bit. This day and age, long distance relationships and long distance dating and long distance friendships, are pretty popular with all the dating apps. The access to social media, DMs, all that stuff. You can slide into the DMs these days, whatever. And so you can meet someone instantly. You all both, even though you all had a friendship at some point, it did, transition on over into a relationship / engagement or whatever. Really, we'll talk about that in a minute. But both of you all actually experienced the dating long distance way back when it was very taboo and not popular at all. What was that like? I know you just talked about the how much it costs. What was that like for both of you all? What did you learn about yourself maybe in the midst of that? What did you learn about the person that you were talking to and dating? Like, share some of that. What was that like to date distance back then? Because you were.
I want to hear about you guys.
Yeah, you guys go first, and then you can talk about your friendship-ish, going all the way up to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say for me, like, I really enjoyed his conversation, and I'll be honest, and he knows this. When we met, I was kind of talking to somebody else.
Okay.
And so just.
It's okay.
I just feel him. Anyway, and so I honestly was looking at my caller ID, and I'm like, oh, it's the other guy calling. But when he would call, I'm like, oh, it's JC, because he always had really good conversations, and we would definitely stay on the phone for hours and hours and hours. And so I always look forward to his call. So we talk pretty much, I would say, every day. Yeah, so that was nice, and I just really enjoyed it. What would you say?
Well, see, it was the first time, because up until that point, I always been a hands-on dater.
Okay.
With underlying hands-on.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
now I'm gone. I can't say virtual because this before Zoom, I think.
Yeah.
But it was before Facebook. It was like MySpace.
No, we had. Come on, Jay.
Oh,
it was
Facebook. Okay, anyway. But anyway, so we didn't do the virtual thing, or anything. So it was definitely phone.
Oh.
Definitely phone. So that means I had to be, hands off and more communicative, I think, because, it was a challenge. I think you can't see each other. So the relationship has to grow really, I think, number one, verbally, but it has to go without that physical attraction there because, you can't see each other. So we didn't do that what's that iPhone thing?
The FaceTime.
Yeah,
No,
do
we
that.
didn't FaceTime.
We didn't FaceTime either because I was before all that. So
Right.
You know, but I was sending them some pictures now, you know.
she did do that. She did that. Yeah.
Put that out there.
Right.
One of them got me out of a speeding ticket. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway, we'll keep it G-rated. But my thing is that, but no, it really, you have to communicate. I think a lot of relationships end on, I've heard a lot of relationships end because there's lack of communication, no communication, or broken communication. Where Candace we were forced to build a relationship on communication because that's all it was, you know. So it was good, and from that standpoint, it was good. What, and I don't know, but my partners here, but the what made it somewhat, I think, the challenge of dating long distance is that when you see each other, it becomes euphoric. And so therefore, it's like, it's all good when you see each other. So you really never see, I think, the bad, because when you see each other, everything, you know, you're full of emotion and everything. So when we saw each other, it was always a good time, you know. And so I think if we dated in the same city, you know, for a while, or met like that, I think we got more realistic pictures of each other too. But I think you know, I like the euphoric feeling though. That was good. But it was but that it just forced you, I think it forced you to communicate better.
Yeah, it does.
That's good.
Yeah.
I wish that was our story, but it was not.
Y'all the opposite.
The summertime, we would fight.
But we were friends though.
Yeah, we were friends. We were literally.
And
So y'all
Friends.
still
I
was
think
not,
that,
you were just friends
we
at that
were
time.
still friends.
Yeah, because, and I think that on the positive, before he starts with we start talking about all the fights. On the positive, I feel like that is why we are now, because that helped us to develop a friendship.
Yeah.
That we did not have the physical stuff going on because we literally were just friends.
Yeah.
So we had a really solid foundation, and so for us, it worked. For me, and I'm saying for him, because he, you know, said at the time, I don't know if he had some other stuff going on.
That's what I'm about to say.
About to find out. But,
Right.
but I mean, and we talked like you guys every day. We talked about everything. We would end our day in college, you know, talking to each other. So that was my confidant. Anything that I, you know, experienced that day, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent, you know, and he would share the same. There were times when I think I helped you with your homework.
Yes, you did. You're why I graduated.
I have to tell everybody that.
Hey, just say
But I mean, so we really, I mean, because we were like friends for like what, 2 years
Yeah, thereabout. Yeah.
before it went a different direction for us, and so we had a really high phone bill, but but we really, I mean, we appreciated it. So when he came home, we would fight probably because we were seeing each other and getting on each other's nerves because. Okay, where my friend at? This dude getting on my nerves. You know, this girl getting on my nerves. But yeah, so we did fight. We let each other see like the real. And the reason why I didn't give him my representative is because he was just my brother. I mean, whatever.
Yeah. Like,
So I didn't hold back, and I think that and I think it did make the times when we did come together, when it did develop into something else. It was I guess, would you want to call it euphoric? We still fought when we had a history of arguing and fighting a little bit because we were friends. Yeah. So when we became more than friends, it was already too late.
We did not care.
We did not care.
We've been there before.
I just couldn't say then you ain't my husband because you know that wasn't the case. So, but yeah, so no, I really appreciated that. I did a lot of letter writing.
Ooh.
That's when, and I think I started the letter writing when we became betrothed, right? Because we didn't date. Our situation was different. Yeah. So we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah, we can go
yeah, so I started the letter writing then because there was a change emotionally and physiologically. I'll say it like that. That quickly came. And we were ministers, so we couldn't be tripping, man. So we had to kind of, but yeah, the letter writing. But we, you know, we sent gifts to each other. We sent gag gifts.
Care packages.
Yeah, you know, I remember I sent him, oh my God, I am getting ready to date us. And I've already said we're in our 40s, so it's too late. But that's when Animaniacs was out. And so he was always talking about eating And so I worked in the mall because I had to have an extra job outside of work study and go to school to pay our phone bill. My part of the phone bill. So I got him an Animaniac
Dinner set
or something as a joke. We would do kind of jokey things.
Okay.
It would be kind of cool to get the packages back and forth. And so that kind of kept it fresh with the friendship. But yeah, we were kind of cornballs of a sort. So
I do want to respond to the question of dating now long distance. So those who are looking at us like dinosaurs,
Yeah.
I think it may be easier now. I mean, when you have
it don't
airline,
cost you anything.
your airline, well, even the airlines, sometimes Spirit and Frontier, you can get somewhere. No, I'm
It's gonna take
serious.
forever, but you
Right.
can get
It's gonna take forever. You can get somewhere for the price of a meal.
Yeah, and even if
And-
you can't get there,
But the
you
technology.
can see the person.
So I think it's
FaceTime.
easier long distance now because
Duo.
there's enhanced communication
Which
now.
might also kind of get some people into trouble, but because you can see them. And I think there's some value add on having a little bit of a foundation that's not just physical.
Yeah.
So that you have something
You
to
can build.
Yeah.
that way you can
Good.
have something solid. But yeah, I do feel like it's easier now. And some people would say, no, it's not. But I always felt like if you want to get in contact with a person, you will.
Yeah.
You'll make the time.
Yeah.
So now you can text. There's no reason or excuse. I hear people say, well, we were just so busy.
No.
I don't know if y'all really liked each other or one of y'all didn't like each other.
Right.
Because a text, you can send an emoji at least.
Right. Something.
Yeah,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
People struggle with that even in the same city. Like, oh, I haven't seen them in a week and a half. And it's like, how? And it's like, we were long distance, several states away, and just you make it work.
Right.
And you make it work if you want it to work.
That's the
Yeah.
key.
So,
Candace. If you want it to work, if
Yeah.
the person's really interested in you, they'll find a way.
right.
to
And you
communicate.
shouldn't have to question that either.
That part. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. So let's go with how you all knew that you were the one. Let's talk about that process, especially because you guys went straight from friendship to that, and then we'll get to you guys.
Yeah, there was no dating.
They skipped
Wow.
that, which
we
is
married.
very interesting.
I married my best friend. So, I don't know, man. We were really churchy. We would go to. No, we were really churchy.
Ridiculous.
We would go to Applebee's with
Our Bibles.
Bibles, dictionaries. No, literally, we would go to Applebee's with 5 and 6 study tools, and we're sitting there. And when the meal would come, it's an interruption because we're looking up Greek and Hebrew words.
And we were both teenage preachers, so to clarify.
So we were
little
very church, and even
quirky.
long distance on Fridays, we would fast long distance. Like
yeah.
Friday, we would be trying to pull all nighters, praying. Are you sleepy? I'm a little sleepy. So
It's just really. When I think about it, I was like, we were such church dorks.
we were so church dorks.
church doors. But I would say though, it got to the point that I remember we used to say this on the phone that whoever, because at some point we both stopped dating and didn't even trip off.
First of all, I never dated. No one ever wanted me. So yeah, I was just
such crap.
unrequited love.
There was someone there at the college,
Unrequited
but
love.
anyway,
Uh-oh.
unrequited. But I will say this: we would joke a lot on the phone because we were cool. Like we were cool, and he would say, and I would say, whoever he or she is, they got to be cool with you, because that's how close our friendship and bond was.
Yeah.
And that turned into they have to be okay with you. They have to like you. And then there was no space for whoever this person was. And we didn't even realize that it got there till it was right there. And all jokes aside, I think that, for sake of time, on one of those all-night prayer-a-thons that we were doing, this is going to sound weird. Once again, we are church nerds, dorks, whatever. We had a married couple, had the nerve to invite our young, teenage, 19, 18, 19 self to their home. And when they got there, they started talking about their marriage problems. And we weren't married, but
and we started counseling.
we prayed for them
Man.
and went to the scripture. In hindsight, I'm like, what were we doing? But we prayed for them, and I remember him instructing the husband about valuing her and seeing her the way that God saw her. And and God was like, let me help these little people out since they got over here. And so that was really like a word of wisdom that God gave him to give to the husband. And then the husband turned back around and said, do you know who she is? And he said, yeah, that's Angel. And he said, nah, do you know who she is? And he was like, what? That's Angel. He was like, nah. And we were both like, oh, no, what are you talking about? So me and the wife just kept talking. But the husband and the wife were kind of snickering, and we were like, what's wrong with them? So we went on about our business, and I want to say a day or so we were praying, and, the Lord just spoke to us. And that I don't think that's the norm, but he literally, it was like he pulled back a screen and we saw one.
And it's like, oh, that's who that is.
Oh, you're the you that has to get along with the you if somebody comes in. And it was just like we saw each other literally differently. And so we literally, and with that sight came attraction that was not otherwise there before in that way. So that was something interesting to have to navigate, because all of a sudden I was like, I used to be at his house. He'd have like they weren't called wife beaters then, because there was a
tank top
on and some shorts, and it wasn't a big deal because that was just my brother. Then the one day I came to the house, I was like, put a shirt on. So why is I didn't think he had a chest before. Why do I think he has a chest 2 years later? What's the problem? He was like, what's wrong with you? And then he would fuss at me, don't sit like that. I was like, okay, fine. What am I to do? We used to sit and chill and read the Bible and do stuff. Now we got to go take a walk. So,
walk it off.
Walk it off. And that's honestly, we really start arguing then, because then there was some physical tension.
Yeah,
right.
tension.
And we just, at the time, when neither one of us going to be honest about that, but that's what it was. It was just some physical tension. We were trying to, we come from a faith-based biblical worldview, so we were trying to wait. And so that is not easy.
Yeah.
So, you just fight, eat chicken, whatever.
Eat chicken.
Do some
Just trying to deal.
Right. That's real. So, but that's as different as it was, that's what it was. We really feel like the Lord spoke to us, and we began to see each other in a different way than we had seen one another before. And that's how it started.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what about you two?
Let's see. How did I know he was?
Yeah.
He
And
was
how did
it.
he know that you were it? Yeah.
Like I said, I feel like he was man. Like I felt like I dealt with little boys before him, so I just felt like he was more mature and had goals, and just I was just like, he had a different type of way he talked to me, and just it was just different. I was just like, okay, this may be a little something. It was different. And so just by talking, like I said, we built that friendship by speaking every day. And for me, I was just like, okay, this is something. And then the fact that he's long distance, I was like, well, I know I'm not moving. Because I've been there, done that, moved around for people. And so I'm like, well, Lord, you're going to have to make a way, because I know I'm going to be right here. So, but yeah, I just knew he was different.
Yeah.
So,
What
would you say?
I like it got quiet and rocking. What you got?
Well, what did it for me was those ivory pants.
I knew he was going back to that. I knew he was going back to that.
I didn't see ivory pants look that good, so I was like, this got to be the one. When we was on the phone, it forced us again to really build something, because we couldn't see each other. So it had to be more authentic, because whatever we're talking about, and it's not going to glossy eyes because I'm looking at her or something like that. And so, but it was just that the connection with her was deeper than any other connection I've had, and it was done strictly audio. And so that's what it was. I mean, other people had connection, but we were seeing each other. But this is really deep. And so I just knew that if I didn't push up on this or whatever, it was going to be a big loss for me. And I never looked at, I mean, not to sound arrogant, but I never looked at previous relationships I had as losses for me. But this one would have been a loss. So I had to do something. And then I knew that she was transparent about things she don't want to date just a date.
Yeah.
She wants to date for a husband. She wants to be married. That's important to her. And so I understand that as well. As far as what's going on. And then she did say that she made this very early and often that she's waiting. Before anything physical. And she would say that as if I didn't hear it the first time. It's like I need a refresher. When she said, we're going to wait or whatever, I'm like, yeah, I got that, but she wanted me to just wait and know that, and just wait for the wait. So anyway,
Okay.
and so for her to be like that up front, obviously that's going to be an objection with some guys or whatever, but that was fine. And so the clicker was, I knew she was the one, but how do I get there?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want, she was in Kansas City, that's her hometown, she's around family. I've already lived away from my family in other states, so I was kind of used to that. So I was thinking about how do I get to Kansas City? And everything just kind of clicked. That's when I knew it was spiritual as well. Yeah. Because I talked to unfortunately, I was working in a college recruitment, and there was a young lady that worked in the Kansas City area, and she suddenly passed away. Like, it was about I think it was about Kansas, I met.
About a year and a half.
Yeah, about a year and a half after we
later.
met. Yeah, she died. And so Kansas, I've been dating everything. I got to this point where I wanted to be with her. So I talked to the boss about me transferring to Kansas City. And he was like, he called me back. I was like, yeah, why Kansas City? And I told him, I met somebody there and I want to be close to the area. And he was like, okay. And it just happened just lickety split. Then then I got a package on my relocation, how much they're going to pay to do that, because they usually don't do that unless they bring you from the outside. But they said they're going to relocate me and everything. And and then it was like, how soon can you do it? They became more aggressive than me. I thought she knew somebody in corporate office or something. So it just happened real quick. And then I got an apartment in Kansas City real quick. And then
Okay, keep going.
I got an apartment in Kansas City, but I didn't sign the lease yet because a decision was made that we would live under the same roof or domicile, if you will. And so I, like Adam before me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, come on.
The house being the tree, and so I bit from that tree.
Okay.
And stayed. But she did.
That was hilarious.
So, and I stayed in her house, but I was her condo. But she did. But in all seriousness, it did nothing. We waited, and that was important. No, we did, and so for a long time, and so that's really what it was. So for me to make that trip, everything stopped, happened right away like that, and it just clicked like that. I knew it was something special.
Yes.
Right? That's all.
That's all.
I love it.
I think we need a commercial.
So, what, we're going to switch gears. Let's talk about, right now there's a few controversial things going on amongst singles and people that are, in relationships and married couples.
Of course not.
It's that word, that word that everybody hates to hear. And there's so much debate around the word of submission.
Well, you said it like that, though.
I know, right? Well, that's how they say the word. It is. It's like a scary word. Men and women are both. They're like, oh my God. Men are saying that women won't submit, and women are saying that men are using submission as a way of controlling and manipulation. So it's all this debate around submission. Let's talk about submission. What is it? What does it look like in your relationship? Was it a challenging task for you guys? Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's start with the McKays.
Ladies first.
So, I have to take a step back, and now I'm getting ready to put on the other hat.
Okay.
Part of the reason why people have such a big deal with that term is because they don't I'm going to speak from a biblical, Hebraic biblical worldview. So I am about to go there for a half a second. If there was a clear understanding of the passage of scripture that most of that is based on, there would be an understanding that those extra little lines that we have for those of us who are believers that are listening to this, that tell us what the chapter is about, the author didn't put that in there. And so if you read the passages and you understand how to read the Bible in context, you'll come to understand the most important thing, that entire dissertation is about us submitting one to another. And it even starts with that. And so that whole thing about the wife having to submit, if you read back up, you understand that entire passage is about something other than just that. It really is about us living submitted lives one to another. And then you read that passage in context and understand what that is. If we start there, then there doesn't have to be all this animosity about what it is. Now, if you start there, you understand that I am willfully coming under another person and they're willfully coming under me, but it's to serve one another.
Say that part.
It's to serve one another.
There it is.
It's not,
Can I
yes,
interject
please
here?
go, baby.
Bishop Wellington Boone, I heard him say something a while ago, how he and his wife try to outserve each other. And I think that's a mantra that we have. And I will say out loud to her before I go to work, I'm very deliberate and intentional to make sure I do things before I leave the house, because I tell her, I say, before I go into the community and serve them, I want to serve you and my son first. So I ask her, do you need me to do this? And I go out of my way to be intentional to serve her. I'm really trying to outserve her every day, every single day. It's a goal.
So to answer your question, it has never been an issue in our house, in our relationship, ever. It's not even a discussion.
But I before they respond, I want to piggyback and say, some of the individuals who are quarreling over the concept of submission are just making excuses. It's just another excuse of why you don't want to do things a certain way from a traditional standpoint. It's another excuse.
That's good. Cranes, do you have any?
Well, I mean, I guess for me, I mean, that was a good way of how you broke that down. For me, I guess I just mainly feel like if he is following God and listening to God and being the leader that he's called to be, I really shouldn't have a problem if, say, I'm like, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z, and we talk about it, and he makes a decision. I really shouldn't have a problem with it if he is following God and listening to God. And I just feel like a lot of us, like, well, shoot, I'm independent. I've been doing my thing, and I'm not trying to listen to no man and this and that. And I just feel like I don't want to make the hard decisions. I want to be like, you handle that. And, so I don't have a problem submitting if, you're looking at it like, okay, he's just making a decision. We talk about something, and even though I may not agree, if he feels, I think we should do this, I'm like, okay, I don't really like that, but we gonna see, Lord, if he's listening to you, Jesus. So let's see how this is gonna turn out. And it's just, I'm okay. Now, I mean, he has made some decisions that I've been like, God. But at the end of the day, it's just like all things will work together.
Hey,
and I just have to trust that, he's made the decision. I trust him, and we're going to go with that. And so it's not a problem.
That's good.
I mean, that was great.
So I don't know.
I think when we so one of the reasons why I knew Cam was the one and I was ready to be married was because it was I had really gotten back in the church really, really big when I was in Detroit, and so when I was baptized, earlier and everything, but I really got serious about it. While I was missing the Sunday football game to go to church. That's big for me, you know. And so I was really getting and doing Bible study and doing things like that. And so and I remember the passage and help me here, Reverend, about wife submit to the husband as the husband submits to Christ or something like that. If I got that right, thank you. And so you know, and we had a discussion about that. So it's not about that I'm the man, I'm the man, I'm the man. It's like, in order for that female to submit, is that person, the male that you're with, submitting to Christ? If the answer to that is no, then there's no need for the submission piece. But if he is, then there should be a trust in Christ. And Candace, growing up in the household that she grew up, you know, being the daughter of a Baptist minister, you know, he preached the Bible, you know, and so her understanding that the submission part is consequential to the male submitting to Christ. And I think that's what the part that's missed. I think we have men that, and I don't mean to be judgmental, but there are men that may not be submitting to Christ, but they're still the person, their wife, to submit to them. And that's not even acceptable. I don't think that's really human, because we all, I mean, I think Satan brought that into the world where, you know, it's all about me, you know, kind of thing. So that's why I think some, and I would say the fault for this, I think that's where some males missed that versus the female population, because we get hung up on the testosterone that, you know, I'm the man, and put my foot down, etc., because my foot's heavier. But the situation, the other part of that, is he submitting to Christ? And I think Candace put me to the test with that, because she was saying that she didn't want to go to church by herself, you know, that she would want to go to church with her mate. And that wasn't a problem. It's around the playoffs. But so anyway, we worked through that, because you can now go in the back, and you got these phones with video on them now that you can go in the back and see it, you know. So we're good now.
Next question.
I know. We can keep going on this.
Well, if it doesn't eat up too much time, I wanted to hop in with one more thought about submitting one to another.
Yeah, because that's at the top of the path.
The reality is, at some juncture, both individuals are leading. And let me qualify that. Lately, I've really gotten into stocks and crypto. Well, guess what? In a way, I'm leading in that type of savings or financial thing. And maybe she starts eating more clean. Then we influence one another. So the topics may change, but we're both leading in some way and influence the other person.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Let's one more little
Make it the easy one.
She wanna
just one more, and then we're gonna go back to the
we're
easy
not
stuff.
controversial.
Right.
We're not, but just, you know, these topics. So, talk about safe space and vulnerability stuff. And I think you guys pretty much already talked about a lot of, you know, that dynamic. But, you know, right now, you hear, again, you know, a lot of stuff, a lot of conversations surrounding, especially it seems like the last 3 years or more, that a lot of the men have been talking about how women have not really created a safe space for them anymore, or if it is, they look down on them and consider them to be weak and all of these different things. So, you know, what does that look like? How do you actually create a safe space for someone? You know, what does that look like, and was it a challenge? It sounds like it probably really wasn't, but if y'all can kind of go into that, it probably will go back into some of what we just talked about. But let's talk about that safe space and vulnerability piece, you know. Let's talk about that.
You're looking at me?
Uh-oh.
I'm going to start by saying that if you are with a woman that does not cause you to feel that it's a safe space, then she's not ready to be with you and you're not ready to be with her. It's you know, it's wasted time. Both of you need to do some work, individual work, because nothing's going to magically happen by you just forging forward and thinking things will be in place as far as the communication piece. It's not going to happen. I can say that our safe space has expanded over time. As we've expanded as individuals and grown and healed in areas, we found more space. We've discovered more space, and I think our conversations now are better than they have ever been. I've always said that the best part of my day is coming home, sitting on the couch talking to Angel about my day. But now it's the depth and the quality of the safe space of what I'm able to say on the couch, where there's really no holds barred. They really wasn't there early on because of what was going on with us during that season of our life.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, there's not much to add. I say that in order to have a safe space with somebody, you have to be a safe person. If you're not doing the work, and we didn't know to call it emotional intelligence. But now we have a term. We all need to do what we need to do to be emotionally intelligent, and take care of our own mental, emotional health. And so if you want to create that kind of space, you have to do that for yourself first, so that you're able to have the capacity to be that for somebody else. And I think that goes both ways. Men who are saying that women don't do that, maybe they don't. They haven't seen it. They haven't experienced it. You're not ready for it either. So, there needs to be work done on both sides. But I feel like even that, I would agree with everything he said, that you start, but then it expands. And I really do believe that it starts on the foundation of being able to be your whole self with an individual. And not them dealing with your representative. But you bringing your authentic self to the table, and you being okay with who and whatever that is, and not being so afraid that you can be open. Because if you can't trust, and that's where that safe space starts, you're in the wrong relationship. Go sit down. I just have to go old school now. I'm in my 40s. I'm going to talk like I'm old now. Sit down. That's not the one. And it doesn't mean that they're not the one forever, but like he said, maybe there's some work that needs to be done. Maybe you need to go to counseling. Why don't you trust yourself or that person? What happened? Maybe y'all not in a space where y'all can work through that together. Maybe you need help. But get there. Get there for you first, and then you can become a safe space for somebody.
That's good. That's good. Anything over here?
Well, can I be honest?
By all means. We're amongst friends.
Transparent here.
No, I'm just saying, I feel like with me, I'm very much like, oh, JC, ba-da-da-da-da. I didn't feel confident when I had this meeting, and, and I guess I share a lot of my weaknesses with him. But I feel like with him, sometimes it's a little, I'm macho, and I have it all under control. I am a man's man, and I have it, and I'm good.
And I sound like Thomas
day.
Jefferson.
I'm good. And I mean, and JC is one. He says, well, Candace, why would I talk about my problems if you don't have a solution? It's just like, or he just feels like talking about things just makes him feel worse. He feels like that energy should be on working towards a solution. So I don't think he really likes talking about stuff like this, but go ahead, Jay.
No. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Well, the first part, I guess when I thought about that question, I kind of separate the two in that the vulnerability part. So I couldn't say, I can't say that been married to Candace for 11 years that I'm 100% vulnerable. And the reason, it has nothing to do with her though, is just because of the way that I was raised. So I grew up with a very strong father, a very strong father. So my parents did it the traditional way. They were they married for the first time, one time, and then and then the kids, and then death they parted, together. So it's that my father just told me, growing up on the south side of Chicago is an experience, and you're taught to be tough, to be able to outlast, to be able to endure, and to be able to survive. He taught that, because the south side of Chicago I grew up is not conducive to, even though there's a large number of them, to creating college graduates. Of course, there's some from the south side, but the environment is can be contagious. And so, we had to. So yeah, when it's talking being weak. No, you gotta fight a big city. You can't afford to be weak and to be vulnerable. You have to. You can't be you gotta be a conqueror. There's gangs. There's drugs. There's those type of things. So the criminal element is all around you. And I know friends that got sucked up with that. And so I always looked at from that upbringing, understanding that in Chicago. Then there's the pressure. I don't know if Angel feels this, but being I have a brother about the same distance as you and Angel, and so being the oldest. There was pressure on me also to be the example, for him, So therefore, that I can't show him weakness, then he's going to be weak, So therefore, my dad kind of instilled that in me. So right or wrong, even dating people before Candace, up to Candace, I always just want to make sure that I'm self-reliant and that I got it under control and I don't need any help. And so I could get it done by myself, and I could be a warrior that way. And so, that persona, that no retreat, no surrender, death is for dishonor, shoot the wounded kind of personality, is kind of within me. So I don't want to appear vulnerable to Candace, but it's not because she doesn't earn it or I'm embarrassed. It's just I want to always see me strong and about the business of solving, and fixing. And men are fixers, and so that's something that I have a lot of. So therefore, I just always want to see that that part. The second thing, and I this the space though. When we talk about personal space, I was very open with Candace and personal space almost like from day one because I don't have any business, anything. Right. So, her in my personal space, I never had a problem with that at all. But I do detach it from vulnerable because there's nothing I wouldn't tell her. There's nothing that I wouldn't, nothing that I have not shared with her that she doesn't know about me. So she's already occupying that personal space as far as I'm concerned. But I would just I got to work on just maybe being less macho because she's right about that. I don't want to admit it, but she's like right, and we could delete that out. By the way. But I do have that persona. Playing football for 10 years and that's a macho sport. You can't be weak playing that sport. You get knocked down when you do that. And so and I guess for me, growing up, I always had male teachers. When I got to high school, at least, it was always male teachers. So I grew up in a very pro-testosterone environment, and I would have taught just to forge ahead, and then being a black man, you definitely got to overcome the obstacles. So sometimes it's hard for me to let my guard down with my wife because I still have that lion type of conquering type of persona. So that's something I have to work on though because that's not her.
I think if I can hop in here, if that's okay.
No.
I think you hit something really hard, and that's from a generational standpoint, that men are raised to think that vulnerability equals weakness, when in fact, true vulnerability requires great strength to let somebody in. And so to get back to what she said about men feeling like they can't be, you are probably hitting the nail on the head because there are certain women who, if they do, will see them as weak because they were trained that this is what all those macho type personality traits. And he's not anti-macho. That's not the case. But they're trained that way. And so it's about really training our thinking. It's both of what we said before about being safe people, but also looking at things from a different perspective. Now that we understand that just because you hit a little boy in the chest and say, don't cry, that don't make them a man necessarily because a lot of those brothers are locked up. They didn't cry out loud, but they were crying on the inside.
Right.
And some men would be better off if they went somewhere with some other dudes. I don't know, they might be wrong. But and they were allowed to cry because all of that is bottled up and it goes somewhere. So it should be that the place where you can be, if your wife allows you to, and she understands that that's not an indication that you're not weak, that here's the place that's safe for you to do that. And so, I just hope that because we need to be able to do that too. Yes. Because I am an oldest And so there is an inclination in me to be tough and not to, my husband tell you, most women cry. I'm not a crier.
She does not.
I cry about Jesus,
Yes.
and that's about it.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
And so
That's it.
and so I've been crying because we've had some great losses over the last couple of years, and it ended with me doing like this, wiping my face because I was told to put a smile on your face and fix your face. And so not in the same way be tough, but it's compose yourself.
Yeah.
Compose yourself.
Right.
Don't be emotional. And so it's weird. We're getting some of these same messages, but for different reasons. And the reality is, we need to be taught that it's okay to feel. It's okay to emote.
Yeah.
That doesn't diminish your strength as a person, whether you're a man or a woman. And that you should have a space, a place where you can do that.
Right. But sometimes I'll be like, JC, how was your day? Candace was the same as it was yesterday. But then I'll tell him, oh, I have 5 meetings and this is what we talked about. And this is what, and he's just like, oh, wow.
But women are talkers. Women are talkers and men are listeners.
You talk, Jay.
Some men talk.
You know you can talk, Jay.
Some men can go.
But then sometimes you'll be like, it was fine, Candace. Ain't nothing same as yesterday. And I'm like, give me more. I want to know more.
It's just the same day. It's not like anything happened different. So
Anyway. Lord.
That was a good question.
That was good. So you all,
You probably covered other stuff.
yeah, there was so much. And we're going to have a part 2 for sure.
Yes.
We got to have a part 2 for sure. But in closing, in ending, I just want to make sure that, which we have. You guys have dropped some wonderful wisdom, some wonderful nuggets of wisdom and information, being transparent and encouraging, and but in the end, I did want, if you all could, oh, y'all are funny. It's okay. It won't be bad. To leave a few people, categories of people with some advice. So, and anybody could respond, okay, for this. Everybody doesn't have to. But what advice would you give someone who is currently single, but looking, to at some point date, get in a relationship, and be married? Their ultimate goal is marriage, but they're living a single life. What would be some advice for them right now? I think you guys have talked about some stuff, but what would you advise for a person that's single? Everybody can respond, or as many people can respond. And throw it out there.
I'm going to start off by saying don't look for someone to fix you or fix your situation, because they can't. Someone else can't make you happy, and if they're making you happy, it'll be their job to keep you happy. So who are you looking for, and what are you looking for? I think is important as you pursue wanting to be in a relationship.
I think that for individuals who are single, who are really actually want to be married, not just saying it, I think that you need to find couples who are successfully married, not perfect, but who have a successful marriage and who are willing to open up and share. Because in those conversations, you're going to learn and find some really important nuggets that will help you to identify when that person is coming in your life and what to do when they come. That's it.
Yeah.
That's good. You guys got anything?
I would say with me to just, if that person's single, just really know their worth. Any issues that you may have, work out as much as you can before you say, I do. Obviously, we know when we get in a relationship, things come out like, oh, I didn't know I maybe had a problem with that or whatever. But whatever you can do to work out, being single, any traumas, issues, family things, just to try to come as clean, pure as you possibly can. And just, that's what I would say. Just know your worth and just don't settle, even if you want to, it's taking a long time. Just don't settle for someone that's just giving you attention. Know that you're worth the fight, someone saying, no, that is my woman, and you just being okay with, I I don't know, just being okay with being you, being comfortable with yourself. So yeah, I can go on and on, but those are the things that came to my mind.
That's good.
Jay.
I think the three of y'all summed that up pretty good. I mean, that's and that was good. Yours was touching.
Oh my God.
I just think you have to establish clear and consistent communication. A communication that's so important that you that there's just that constant dialogue, so that if potential problems down the road, they can be head off, or just experiencing knowing where each other stands on things. So I think that the quicker you can establish that communication on a consistent basis, it's really going to let you know if that's the right person, and also if it is, how to navigate and be able to grow that from a friendship to a relationship, etc. So the communication's got to be a critical part of the process.
And don't ignore red flags.
Ooh, that right there.
Don't make something that's not really there. Don't make up things. But when you see red flags, take them for what they are.
Yeah.
Don't ignore them.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so what advice would you give to and you guys both 25 years here, 11 years here. So if a married couple comes to you and they're having a difficult time, they've tried everything they could possibly try, and they're looking to just throw in the towel, what advice would you provide?
I would say go to Sybaris Hotel. No, let me stop.
No, that's all right. Sybaris Hotel. Right.
Shout out to Zoll out on
Shout out
national
to
television.
Sybaris Hotel.
No, but
Kindle the love.
let me stop. But no, it's just a place where you just kind of you have your own, like, not trying to do a little plug for Sybaris, but it's just a place where it's like no distractions. You have your own swimming pool, spa, hot tub, all of that. You're in your room. And I just feel like it's a time where you can really focus on connecting. It's not a whole lot of, I don't think, restaurants around there, but I feel like sometimes you just need to get out of the environment and just, get out of, your house and just be at a secret place to just kind of allow connection. Sometimes we get caught up in day-to-day routine, and it's just like, that could get boring, and it's like sometimes you just gotta switch it up, have a different, space, and just definitely, like you were saying, couples to be around. And sometimes you don't want to, maybe tell people your business, but I think just that fellowship with couples just definitely helps. And therapy. What would you say?
That's good.
I'm getting hit right here on television.
Yeah, on television.
I mean, so, I think the easy way, and not that it's easy, but is that you really, when you have going through trouble in America, think about doing a child summer. There's some problems that have been there and probably been there for a while, and so, if you're making a decision, did you consult with God first? Did you consult with Him? Now, if you consulted with Him, that's what He told you, then okay, because I don't know. But I don't know if God, I don't even know if God understands irreconcilable differences. Because if that's not a spiritual term, that's a human term. So if what's irreconcilable, to God? How do you create something that's irreconcilable, to Him? So that's why it has to be definitely a turn to the Bible and specifically a consultation with God. Did He grant this? And if that's what He did, then that's what He did. But I think if you consult with Him honestly, it's going to be a different end. So I just bring it back to the cross and just say, consult with God before you make the decision, and then go with what that is.
Yeah, that's good.
Interesting question, because there's been an increase in divorce over the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
It has. It's been an
Because
increase.
people have been locked in the house with one another.
Right.
And as people who are pastors, we've had conversations, and we've seen people work stuff out, and people make other decisions in this season. And I would start with what my brother said over there, is we need to go to God first and then seek counsel. But I think I know what my husband is going to say as well.
Ivory pants?
No, not he had to lighten it up. What do you always say that you have to what?
Reset?
That he always says that you have to want to be married.
Oh,
you do.
Well, you know something? I get it. Over the course of our marriage, people will ask the question, how do you stay married?
Yeah.
And I would say things like, keep God first, love each other, you have to be friends first. And then around year 20, I say, I'm changing my answer. No, I'm being very serious.
Yeah.
In order to stay married, you have to want to be married.
You right.
No, seriously. There's always an excuse. Do you want to be married? And if you do, then things can be worked out. I wanted to kind of piggyback on something Candace said, that Angel and I hit a reset button quarterly. We made a commitment that every 3 months, every quarter, even if we're driving an hour away, we get away.
Yeah.
Because the daily grind, it wears and tears on a person. And what helped me is we drove to a friend's wedding in Alabama. And I told her on that 6-hour ride, I fell in love with her again. And I said in a humorous way, but just for 6 hours, I had Angel. Not the stress or residue that I was bringing from work and vice versa. It was just me and her and nothing else. And I say, wow, I get it. And I remember. And after that moment, I say, let's intentionally create spaces and time throughout the year where it's just us. We can hit the reset button because life does wear on you.
And if you have children, it's harder to do.
Yeah.
Sure.
But you need to, which is why it's important for couples to be set in community.
Yeah.
That couples should not be an island, but you should have couple friends who ain't crazy and don't want each other.
Right.
That you can trust if you don't have family with your children for an hour, 2 hours. I'm not saying, they got to keep your kids for a week.
Regular date night.
But a regular date night where y'all are not talking about bills. You are not talking about what so-and-so did on the job. You are not even working out something that you guys are working through. But that's a free zone from all of that where you can just date.
Yeah.
All of that serious stuff is off limits tonight. We just gonna do what we did when we first started liking each other. For them, it's the cream pans.
Ivory.
Sorry. The ivory pan. Eggshell. Whatever he really gonna tell me later, it was. I already know what it is. He just ain't gonna say. But whatever that is, create space. And I would challenge married couples, be that for somebody else. Be that for somebody else.
Yeah.
You've been married a little while. You see that couple that, we ain't really at church. Some of us still virtual. But they've been locked in for months with their kids. If you vaccinated and you say, volunteer.
That's good. Yeah.
That is good. Wow. Well, listen, everybody. I want to thank the Cranes and the McKays, my two favorite couples again, for saying yes to being on this episode, for sharing your love journey with us. We really appreciate it. So in closing, don't forget to breathe. Know that you are God's greatest creation. Now go out and fulfill your purpose unapologetically, because someone is definitely waiting on you. I hope that you experience God's love, joy, and peace. Be kind to yourself and others always. Stay safe. Remember to take care of each other's hearts. Peace and love, my friends. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Signing off. KPP Transformational Life Podcast. The Love Journey.
The effect of your love